I swear, dating after 60 is like trying to find the least damaged thing at a thrift store that doesn't smell.
Yeah, dating websites I gave up on a long time ago. These were actually men that I met in person, just out in the wild. One of them was I'd taken my daughter to Hawaii for a surf trip and meet up with family in North Shore, Ohana. And he was at my hotel pool and, knew the owner. He knew everybody there. He lived there. He lived in Diamond Head, which if you know anything about Diamond Head, those homes around there are. So anyway, good looking guy, really personable. Everyone knew him. In fact, the owner's mother walked in. Everyone knew her, and she hugged him and, he, a really nice guy. So when I left, I was leaving the next day. He was saying, "Oh, I'll fly you back here to Hawaii," which he never did. No big deal. But yeah, so we were texting, and he wasn't calling very much. I like phone calls, So get to know somebody, talk on the phone for an hour. I love that. Texting doesn't work for me when you're just courting, right? Doesn't. Just don't do it, guys.
Of course, she loves 1 hour, 2 hour long phone calls because she's yapping so much right now without getting to the point.
Anyway, so then he starts asking for pictures. And I said, yesterday, I finally said, that's not me. You got the wrong one. He goes, no, I just want to have your beautiful face, And I was like, So anyway, notice this morning he hasn't said his usual, hi, baby. And I don't think he has the right to call me baby. We've never gone out on a date. Anywho.
I always find it funny when they contradict themselves, when they're yapping about something that does not make any sense.
The other guy I met here in Vegas, my girlfriend's realtor friends, the three of us had gone out to dinner at Hank's Steakhouse in Green Valley and had a lovely dinner together. And then afterward, walked outside to the bar that was in the center because there was no room at the bar. It's a very popular restaurant. And so we walked to the center bar and sat there. And my friend started talking to this guy, and I'm too shy to do that, but she's married. And so to her, it's no big deal. It was just, I think she was doing it more for me and her other single girlfriend. But he was really nice. And both these guys are my age. The other guy's in his early 60s, but does not look like it. He looks great. Very successful guy. The other one, he was 59, CEO of the tech company, lives in Newport Beach. And he, again, I'll fly you out to Newport. Never did. No big deal. But never called. I don't expect a ticket to Newport Beach, but you know what I do expect? I expect you to call me and get to know me. And I want to get to know you. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about, ambitions. Let's talk about dreams. Let's talk about places you want to travel. Let's talk about your favorite 3 things to do. I don't know. But no, it was just text. And then he says, I'm coming into town for CES. Great. Let's go to dinner. Great. Then the next text was, oh, I got back to the hotel early. Why don't we just order room service? I'm like, what the actual what is wrong with you? Really, I guess they're because they're really good looking guys, very successful. They're used to younger girls that probably jump at that, send them pictures, show up to their hotel room. And so I will probably stay single forever.
Yeah, you probably will with this mentality. And honestly, she's only going to be appealing to men the same age as her. And actually, how much you want to know about a person? That comes afterwards. You know their job, you know their name. You find them attractive, so why won't you just take the opportunity and try to make it work between you two?
So here's the thing about dating after 60 that nobody tells you. It's hard. And you're probably going to get your heart broken a few times. But that's okay. We're in it for the long run. We're hoping to find that true love, that last true love. And if we can just stay patient and hang in there, hopefully it's coming. But ladies, don't ever, ever settle for breadcrumbs.
Yeah, that's the words of affirmation that they tell themselves all the time because they can't accept the reality and see that they have a delusional mindset.
We deserve the whole loaf. Keep going and just know I'm here to support you.
Okay, ladies, let's talk about the number 6 issue with the dating apps. For women, once we have that number 6 in front of our age, in other words, 60 or more, we have eliminated ourselves from many of the search parameters in the dating app. The irony of this to me is that they claim all these beautiful things about themselves and what they're looking for in the life they want to create with the person that they can find on this app. And yet it's all still really limited to what age you are. So for me, the whole dating age appropriate and finding a guy my age and then looking online to see that they're only interested in younger women just begs many questions and makes me wonder, What is going on with guys
Makes
in
you
their
wonder.
60s?
Yeah, it's funny how it makes her wonder, but it doesn't make her wonder when women go for younger guys. God forbid, a man goes for a younger woman. Oh, now he's this and that and that. Now they start to wonder.
Thought this morning, dating over 60. Where do you go? What do you do? I really not ready for bingo. So where do you go? What do you do to actually get back out there in the dating world?
Help. One date in and they want to know if I'm feeling chemistry. Sir, at this point, I don't even know if I'd loan you a book. That disconnect sums up dating in your 60s perfectly, maybe especially after a very long marriage has ended. Because when I started dating again, I was still in pick-me mode, contorting myself to be likable and desirable. We're so done with that. So here are 3 things that I've learned the hard way about dating at this age. Number 1, even the good guys lie by omission. I state clearly and upfront, I don't lie. I don't lie overtly and not by omission. And I expect the same in return. When I started stating that out loud as a deal breaker, the truth started coming out fast. One guy admitted that his ex-wife had a permanent restraining order against him. Another wasn't actually divorced, he was just separated. These aren't harmless white lies. If someone is trying to hide information from you that affects your ability to see the situation clearly, they're not protecting you, they're manipulating you. Okay, number 2, I don't travel to them and I don't pay. And one time I drove 90 minutes, so it was like halfway between where the 2 of us lived. Between the time I left my house and I got to the place where we were supposed to meet, he had deleted his profile and blocked me. Like, what the hell? Another time I was at dinner with someone, he was in the restroom when the bill came, so I paid it because, like, I'm a human. I ate, right? I figured I'll just be nice. Never heard from him again. Lesson there, I'm not subsidizing anyone and I'm not chasing anyone. And number 3, to me, dating apps feel contrived. In real life, you can just quietly observe someone for a while, see if they're emotionally stable, how they treat people. Online, literally all you know is that you're both single. Most men act like one date is enough to know if I'm feeling chemistry. Again, like, I don't even know if I'd drive you to the airport at this point. How can I possibly know if I'm going to let you into my trusted inner circle? Dating isn't off the table for me, but, you know, when you know better, it's time to do better.
Okay, this just tells me that you choose poorly. Because what she said is fair, but her choices of men, I don't think she's choosing the right ones.
When you're in your 60s, your 50s, your 70s, and you're single, and you meet somebody, and you like them, when do you take off your clothes? Okay. I mean,
yes.
And, but,
yes.
and you know what? Because
do I like how I look naked? Yeah.
Well,
everybody has insecurities about their body.
you turn the lights on.
Yeah, you turn the lights off.
Dating in our 60s. I got a story for you. Keep it short. So, I'm on vacation this past week and I'm sitting on the beach and I get a call that says no caller ID. And normally I wouldn't pick that up, but I did for some reason. It was a man claiming to be looking for a therapist. Now, I don't know what kind of therapist that means. And I'm a Reiki practitioner. So a lot of people don't know what Reiki is. If you don't know, it's energy healing.
Oh my
There's
God.
a spiritual aspect to it. But anyway, we got to talking. He had like this really cool, deep broadcasting kind of voice. But we're talking and we just kind of clicked on our spiritual beliefs and our mindset and other things. So getting to the point of this story is it turns out he's 45. I'm not. It just gave me pause to think about how young would I date? How old would I date? I've always made the rule that as long as I can't be their mother, and in this case I could have been, and he can't be my father, then I'm open. But 45 didn't feel good. I think for me, I've been set up on several dates fairly recently, and I didn't pay attention to age. It's more an energetic thing for me. So there are 80-year-olds with really young spirits and lively and active and fun and light. And there's 50-year-olds that are kind of, I call it like Eeyore energy, like they're weighted down, poor me. So regardless of their age, I think the rule that I'm changing to, not the, as long as I can't be their mother or they can't be my father, but rather, what's your energy like? Are we in alignment on our beliefs? Because I'm not a mainstream kind of girl in terms of my thoughts and beliefs. Are we in alignment? And 2, is there a light, fun, active, I'm still living, I still got a lot of life in me, I want to do things kind of energy about them.
Excuse me.
So I'm grateful that this guy, who was probably a scam, I do believe he called for a reason to get me to kind of get more clear on what it is I really want.
Oh, now it's about energy because she's a certain age. I don't think she's going to be able to find someone who takes her seriously when she thinks like that.
So you're over 60 and you decided you want to date. Why don't I help translate some words you're going to see in people's profiles? So if somebody says they're recently separated, it probably means they're still married, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or legally, but they're probably still married. If they say, I don't want any drama, typically that means they're the ones who wreak havoc, but they don't want to take responsibility for it. They don't want to do that. If he says, I travel constantly, that means he's going to text you from the airport, but he's never going to take you to the airport. So be wary of that. And when he says, I'm low maintenance. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. When they say, I'm low maintenance, that just means the minute feelings start showing up, I'm out. So just so you know. So who am I? That's kind of mean, wasn't it? I'm Boomer, I'm Blondie, and I'm dating. And I'm trying to get you ahead of the game so you know what to do.
I mean, right now she's just talking about her experience, but her experience does not make the rule.
A couple of weeks ago, I went on a second date with someone. But let's start at the first date. The first date, he took me to a Mexican restaurant. The music was so loud we couldn't even talk. So we didn't, get to kind of know each other hardly at all. And then he asked me out again. Oh, then he traveled out of the country for 3 weeks for his business. And then he asked me out again. And I said yes. And he didn't even plan anything like, he's like, where should we go? And I'm like, so he picks this place that's not even good food. I don't even want to say the name of it, but the food is not good at all. It's not like the best place. So I said, I'll book it. Fine. So I booked at a very hard to get in restaurant here, but I have a connection there. So got us a great table, had good food, good conversation. Everything was going well. And then we get to my house. He's going to drop me off. And he's like, you can see yourself to the door, right? And I'm like, yeah. And did not come in for a kiss. I'm like, okay, good night. Thank you. Awkward. So I just said, whatever. So a couple of days later, he's like, had a good time. Sorry, I'm running late in responding or texting you. And I said, no worries. And he said, I'd like to take you to dinner again. And I said, let's do it. Yeah, I had a good time, so let's do it. That was like 2 weeks ago. Nothing, not a word from him after that. Not a word. And then I saw him out last night. I knew I would run into him, and I just said, you know what, I'll be nice, but I am not interested any longer. And so he's like, came up and he's like, I'm sorry I haven't been in touch. And I'm like, it's all right. He's like, well, I've just been really busy. I said, you know what? It's the least of my worries. It's the least of my worries. And he's like, okay. And so we're just talking small talk. And he goes to the bar. We're at a table as girls. And then he after that, he comes back a little later on. And, just sorry again, sorry. I've just been so busy. I said, I am super duper busy too. And he said, well, I just really would like to take you out again. And I said, listen, I'm looking for a man that has integrity to do what he says he's going to do, not to ghost me for weeks and then expect a date. Oh, what did that shock you? Did that surprise you? I said, but you know what? We can be friends. The boy walked away. At this age, he's 63 years old. The little boy walked away from me without saying, I respect that. I respect your boundaries. No. Bye-bye.
It's always them talking about a situation that they say it's the least of their worries, and then they post it on social media. She's not in the wrong here, I'm just saying, but she clearly has good boundaries. Yeah, keep trying, keep trying. I'm sure you'll find the right one for you.
Well, I'm learning a lot now that I'm dating after not dating for many years. The first is that I actually enjoy being people-y. I usually avoid people, but he has taken me out amongst the people, and I actually enjoy it. So that was a big change for me, but I'm getting used to it. The next thing I'm learning is how to communicate my feelings and to allow someone else to communicate theirs. After being alone for so long, I just never spoke about how I felt. And so that's been a new experience. Another biggie is compromise. When you get to be our age, there are some things that are non-negotiable. And for him, he quit drinking 12 years ago, and he's requested that I not drink when I'm around him. And I've been able to do that, except, you know, I'm still allowed to drink when I'm at home. So yeah, my house used to be my sanctuary. It was where I went to be away from people. Well, we lived 1.2 miles from each other. So we're constantly at each other's houses, like all the time. And I actually enjoy it. I'm comfortable with someone being in my house, which is a kind of a big deal for me. And the last thing, kind of embarrassing, is I enjoy being physical now. I mean, I went through menopause. I thought that part of me was dead, but it's not. And I'm actually comfortable, being, cuddling with somebody else. So I'm learning a lot, and I'll keep you guys posted. And if you're, 60 or above and you're afraid of dating, maybe you'll run into your old high school crush like I did.
Well, I'm just happy for her that she's happy. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, man. This is the last in our series called the Top 3 Reasons You Shouldn't Date Women in a Certain Age Group. Today, we're talking about my age group, the 60 and up. The age where denial meets mortality. The grim realization is setting in that she's likely going to be dying alone. She's finally realizing the party is over. The attention's gone. The phone isn't ringing. And the men her age aren't chasing her. Hell, they aren't even paying any attention to her. No, instead they're off enjoying their peace. It's not that men her age can't get women. It's that they don't want them. They don't want this version of them. And now she's realizing that she won the lottery. No, not that lottery, the loneliness lottery. By this point, she's outlived her beauty currency. She's burned through all of her relationships. And she spent decades convincing herself she didn't need a man. And that's exactly what she's gotten. And now she's scrolling Facebook alone at night, posting cat memes and pretending that she's thriving. The reality, though, is she's realizing she's going to die alone, and now she knows it. Because you see, the compatibility window for her has collapsed. The few men her age who are dating, well, they're looking down, not across. Younger women equals less baggage and a hell of a lot less bitterness. Meanwhile, she's raging at the world for moving on without her. Here's the harsh truth. Most men in their 60s have found peace. Peace in solitude, their hobbies, fishing trips, or just plain silence. While single women in their 60s are still trying to win a game that ended for them decades ago. A game they didn't win and never will. Men, don't even think about dating these women. Don't go back into the storm. Because if you do, there's a pretty darn good chance you'll lose your house, your car, and a good portion of your retirement. Leave her be. She chose her independence. Now she's married to.
That is so true. And that's why dating at that certain age, 60 and up, is actually insane. The realization hits them way too late. Because when you're dating again in your 60s as a man, you would not date someone that would argue with you and nag you all the time. That's not even an option for a man in his 60s. Men at that age, as he said, they just want peace and quiet. If a woman is not gonna add that to the relationship, what is he gonna need her for? He's already stable, makes money, he found quiet and peace. He travels, so it's going to be stupid of him to add someone in his life that's just going to argue with him all the time.
I'm over 60. I am divorced. and I started dating. It's a jungle out there. I wanted to share this story because I dated a guy who I was really into for about a year, and we were on again, off again, mostly on. But early on, I had a lot of red flags, and I'm going to talk about all of the red flags of dating over 60 in a series here. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was one of the things that he's done, and an experience I just had because we just broke it off, I believe, for the last time. That's why I have this channel now. So it was his birthday yesterday, and he sent me a text saying, hey, I won't be able to see you on my birthday after all. And we live just a couple blocks away and we see each other all the time. I have other plans and I'll be out really late. He's a guy who religiously goes to bed very, very early. It's his birthday. I've been with him for a good year or even a little bit more. I just found it weird that if you've been with somebody for that long, that you wouldn't either have your birthday with them or at least say, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I texted him back. I was like, okay, but can you do me a favor and just reassure me? So I wanted to be reassured that this isn't, a date or a hookup, because I'm just feeling a little insecure. He texts me back and he says, it's not a date, it's not a hookup, and quite frankly, I don't need to tell you anything. And I said, fine, I'm going to be out too, because I was going to a basketball game. And he goes, I don't care. He says, I'm not your keeper. It's like, okay. He said, well, all I'm doing is I'm going to a basketball game. He's like, well, I don't really care. That exchange is what broke us up, because I called him out on something and I've been suspecting him cheating on me, and I've had to tiptoe about it. So my new account here is really going to be about dating over 60, navigating divorce, because, I was married for 37 years. And then what? Like, what happens after that? I mean, you don't really have a lot of dating experience, right? So I dated this guy and it turned out that I was madly attracted to him and in love. And it was a very physical, passionate relationship. He love bombed me in the beginning. So amazing. But that's the pattern. He would be so amazing and then he would, not be around at all. And then I would cry and cry and cry. It was like the grief was more than even my divorce.
Outdoor cat literally does this every night.
Married for 37 years. And I bet you she's the one that filed for divorce. I'm not gonna lie, that's a stupid mistake. Just because you find someone else that you are physically attracted to, that does not mean that you should end a 37-year-old marriage. Big mistake on her part. They always think that the grass is greener on the other side. But with this one right here, she jumped from a jungle to a desert.
In my videos, I've been talking about how us women in our late 60s are done with dating, that the little bit of companionship you can get isn't worth all the aggravation that comes along with it. And again, men our age are looking for a nurse with a purse. And that's about it. And women don't need men at our age. Men do better and will live longer if they have a woman around. But I'm done. But I wanted to know from you guys, drop it in my comments, what was the worst date you've ever had in your older years? It doesn't count when you're young because we're all young and dumb. One of mine was my friends at work had set up my profile, and this guy comes along on it, and one of my coworkers knew him. He was a coach at a high school. And they go, oh, yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. So I set it up. We went out. We met for lunch. I did not finish my lunch because I don't eat very much in public. And so I gathered up my food to take home, and he knew that. And later he just said, can I take your leftovers home to my kid? But the worst part of it was he went for a long drive and got us down to a very remote area next to a lake. And it's getting dark. It's about sunset. And we were walking along and he was all over me. And I thought to myself, I would never want my girls to be in this kind of situation. What the heck am I doing in this situation? So I quickly got out of it, though he was not happy, but thankfully nothing happened. And he was also the guy that we had met at a coffee shop, and we bought coffee or drinks. And literally within 3 minutes of being with him, he goes, so what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know you. We've all spoken about 50 words to each other. Anyway, I feel myself lucky. That was the worst date I had ever had. Again, I didn't date very much.
I want to talk to you about being single over 60.
I'm like, I don't know you. We've all spoken about 50 words to each other. Anyway, I feel myself lucky. That was the worst date I had ever had. Again, I didn't date very much.
I want to talk to you about being single over 60. As a woman in her 60s, I've found that my wants have changed. I don't want to be married anymore. I've already done that. but I still crave companionship. It's not difficult attracting men or finding men, but it has been difficult finding someone whose lifestyle matches mine. I live a pretty simple life because I'm retired, and I still get around and get out and do all the things, but I'm not on anybody's schedule, which is a wonderful thing. Why is it so difficult to find someone? I've been single since I was 45, and it's been difficult. So finally, I'm just like, marriage is not in the cards for me, but I still believe that there's a man out there, at least one, out of however many 8 billion people in the world, who may want to hang out and do life with me. But ladies, are you finding it difficult? I know that it's probably easy to meet men too for you, because they're out there. So don't let anybody tell you that there are no men out there and that there are no good men out there, because there are some, and I know many of them. So don't let that discourage you for you to think that there are no good men out there. And men, there are many good women. And so I would encourage you to seek us out. We're out here, and we're just living our lives. We have peace. I know men always say they want their peace, and we have peace, and we can share a peaceful life together.
Yeah, she's now realizing that her options are shrinking because she's in her 60s. Marriage is not a requirement for her anymore, because she knows when she asks for marriage, those men that she's trying to attract are gonna run away. Because she knows also in the case of divorce, the court system is gonna favor her. And now she's offering peace and quiet because she knows that she has to be feminine to attract a man. Yeah, when the biological clock hits, the realization sits within their mind.
So a lot of people talked about dating and dating sites. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a guinea pig. I am going to go on the dating site. I'm going to check it out. It's been 10 years. I mean, I've dated in between, but I've never really sought out a relationship. And not that I'm seeking out a relationship, but so I went on Facebook because I feel like that might be the one that's the best, because you tend to have mutual friends. So I went on there, and I haven't used it in forever, so I want to make sure the profile picture was the same, and I basically look the same. So I did that, and I wound up talking to a gentleman who is only a half hour from me. We have a mutual friend from high school. So we're actually going to meet next Tuesday, the 16th. So I'm just going to be the guinea pig and just talk real, throw out in the world what's going on. I'm 65 years old as of a week and a half ago. Maybe it'll be 2 weeks. Oh, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks today. It's 2 weeks today that I am 65. So I thought, let's just check it out. The best thing that could happen is I meet somebody. If it doesn't work out, maybe we become friends. The worst that happens is I'm in a very happy place. So I'll just continue in this happy place. But it is always nice to have the company of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever floats your boat. Judgment-free zone here. So I'm going to try it. So I've got a date next week. And we're talking like all the time. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, go out there, test the waters. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure the reality is going to hit her hard.
Dating when you get older is very, very different, especially when you're crossing the threshold that I'm crossing. And I say threshold because it's one thing to be dating in your 40s and 50s. That's one thing. But in about, in about 10 days, I turn 60. So I've been saying, I'll be 60 in a few months for a few months now. Getting used to saying 60, because you'll see when you get here. Hopefully you get here, but when you get here, you'll understand. So it was a few months ago, to tell you how weird it gets. A few months ago, I got set up on a date, very attractive woman, 42 years old, okay? And we're out at dinner, and of course, the conversation goes the way it goes, and then sooner or later, she mentions age, and she says, how old are you? And I said, I'm a few months away from turning 60. She goes, oh, wow. She says, well, I'm only 42. I said, yes, I was told you're 42. And she goes, wow, that's like 18 years difference. I'm like, yeah, 18 years difference. And then comes the question. And then it comes in, and I'm like, oh, I know it's coming. And she says to me, am I the youngest girl you've dated recently? Oh boy. Oh boy. I wish at that point in time I could just lie, you know. I wish I could just say, oh, of course, yeah, 42, so young, you know. But me being the honest individual that I am, I said, no, you're not the youngest. And I tried to leave it there. But of course she said, well, how old was she? And I said, 21. And she stared at me for about 10 seconds. And she goes, 21? That's half my age. Again, your math is excellent. You know, that is correct. And she goes, why would you go out with a 21-year-old? I said, she asked me. You know, she asked if I, you know, wanted to go out. And I said, sure. You know, it happens here in Vegas. It's a strange phenomenon, but here in Vegas, girls ask you out. You know, they're not shy, you know. So the look on her face, I mean, basically dinner was over at that point. You know, I had just admitted to being with a girl half her age, and that absolutely blew her mind. So I don't, how do you date older women if you have to admit dating younger women? Do you just lie? I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what the rules are, but
probably should have just.
I thought you'd find that interesting. I'm still trying to figure out. If you have a suggestion, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, man. Sometimes questions like that should not be answered. You should have just avoided answering that question. But I'm sure that she would be perfectly fine going for someone half her age. Does it? But when a man does it, it's shamed and demonized. In this situation right here, the 21-year-old girl asked him out. He did not ask her out. She asked him out. He just said yes. Now, I'm not telling you to go seek out 21-year-old girls if you're 60. That's, with all honesty, is weird. Your ethics and morals should stop you from doing stuff like that. What I don't like is the double standard about it.
Welcome to Dating in Your 60s and another edition of Wisdom in Your 60s. Now that I've spent some time comfortably in my 60s, I've come to realize that nothing good comes after the phrase, watch this.
Dating over 60, what do 60-year-old men really want? What they are looking for is companionship. If they're ready for retirement, they're looking for like a travel partner. They're looking for a woman they can confide in, someone they can trust, someone who's loyal, someone who can be their best friend, someone to cook with, someone to go on adventure with, someone to work out with. Basically, they're looking for their best friend, their life partner. They're looking for someone that can add to their life. A lot of the men I've spoken to that are over 60 have their life totally in hand. They have grandchildren, they have activities, they have stuff to do, but now they want to spend that with someone that they really connect with, someone to have fun with. So I think what I'm seeing after talking to a lot of 60-year-old women, a lot of 60-year-old plus men, is that men and women are actually, in my opinion, looking for the same thing. And I think we get bogged down thinking that the other sex doesn't want the same thing because maybe we come across folks that get in our way, that are looking for something entirely different. But what I ask, or what I suggest, excuse me, is being wildly patient and not putting up with less than you deserve, and realizing that men are looking for the same thing as you. You just need to get to the right man that really fits what you're specifically looking for.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to find the right one for you, whether you're a man or a woman, especially when you're this age and with so many little options. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this topic, fellas, down in the comment section. Like and subscribe and take it easy.